Gareth had such a strong vision throughout the whole process, but I think Wētā really put their mark on this film as well.
Every frame has something that has our fingerprints on it.
Gareth came to us wanting us to look at taking on design and manufacture for specialty costume and props.
Gareth really wanted a lived-in world. He wanted this to be a realistic place in the future. Everything we do has to reflect that.
It's always a really big challenge grounding items in reality for an imaginary world, but I think that's what our design and manufacture teams do so well, is know the world first before we start designing for it.
We have what we like to call a brain trust. We have our concept team working side by side with our manufacture team. All of the practicalities of materiality and function and form and fit are considered within that design phase. It means that we can be much more efficient, much more considered as we evolve these designs, and all of that forms the design brief before we even put pen to paper.
From the outset, we knew that Gareth would be shooting across many locations in Southeast Asia, and with a very small guerrilla crew. Production needed to be light on their feet and carry only what was necessary. Nearly everything had to be designed to be multi-purpose, or that could be modified, with different components switched out to create entirely different costumes or different weapons.
It meant that we could provide something that would be really efficient for the team on set to switch things out, but then also still create a really rich world with a small amount of parts.
In the very early rounds of the project, Gareth gave the designers a lot of creative freedom.
We were all just kind of going wherever we wanted, trying to find Gareth's aesthetic, trying to figure out what it was all about.
One of the real benefits of working in a design studio is that you're surrounded by other artists all tackling similar briefs within the same world. It can be a great way of being inspired by the different directions that everyone's pushing it.
We'd also do some live Photoshop sessions, so we'd be on a Zoom call with Gareth and Jeremy would just be working away.
I'm just working away in Photoshop and we're collaborating and throwing ideas out at each other and refining things in a very sort of improvisational, free-form kind of way.
I think Gareth enjoyed those sessions way too much, and he'd always say that the concept design process was one of his favourite parts of filmmaking.
Gareth realised really quickly that Jeremy was exactly the person he needed.
It means a lot to be given the costume designer credit. I really see it as a reflection of the sum value of all of the parts of the whole team working here and the value that we all bring to the project. So the main costumes that we worked on were Alfie's suit, 2 looks for Maya, an engineer's outfit and an AI outfit, Joshua's civilian look, his combat look, a variety of military outfits, a biohazard suit, a space suit, and some modular backpacks that could be used across a variety of different costumes.
With the military, the spacesuit and the biohazard suits that we built, there was a little bit of a crossover, particularly with the more tech pieces that were built by our costume props department. And that gave a lovely design language that crossed over between different characters.
The military helmet had a variety of modular attachments that you could replace on it, so it had an extendable peak, a bubble visor, and a heavy set of VR goggles.
Alfie's costume was a bit of a favourite amongst the team, one because it was so cute, but it also involved so many interesting manufacturing techniques that were designed in from the early onset.
Alfie's costume had a really great combination of martial arts or monk's robe crossed with sci-fi, crossed with a children's onesie or pyjamas.
You get this cute, innocent look, but then under the surface is the hyper-intelligent AI super weapon.
Young children tend to grow quite fast, so we had to work out a percentage of how much bigger to make the costume so that when it finally got onto set, it was still going to fit her.
Being in New Zealand, we quite often never have a fitting with the actors in-house.
We were really fortunate to be able to have the actors scanned overseas, and we had their figures milled out in polystyrene. When we need to see how a costume is going to move, we often use our crew members that are of a similar shape and height and get them to move around and see if it's working how we need it to work. For Alfie, we used one of our team members' daughters, and she dressed up in the costume and did some cool kung fu moves.
That was like easily the cutest moment of the project, seeing her cruise around with it.
So we were responsible for designing and manufacturing a lot of the props and weapons for the creator.
Sci-fi props are awesome, so there were some pretty sweet briefs.
We made a medical head scanner.
We designed grenades, bombs,
The tracking device, a translation device,
memory storage devices, EMPs.
Radios, night vision goggles.
we also made a prosthetic arm.
Guns, handguns, assault rifles. There are many, many different guns in this movie.
Each of them had their own unique aesthetic that really separated it from the others. And I found it very hard to pick which one was my favourite.
The coolest part of the project is always seeing the final prop.
You see their faces light up when their design that they've been drawing for weeks has come to life in front of their eyes.
It's always such a trip seeing something you've seen sketched out from an idea become something that's fully realised. It's pretty incredible.
Our work looks spectacular up on screen. Everything is really cohesive and it is really, really true to what Gareth was originally envisioning.
Seeing John David Washington running down a hallway in the full costume, holding one of the weapons that we'd worked on, was really satisfying.
Seeing all of our hard work come together in the same frame as the production design and the cinematography and everything kind of working together as one, it's pretty amazing.